Hello everyone, Sable here with the final match of UUCL Week 3. This one is me versus 149 states. I would give some background and context on my scouting for this game, but to be honest, I had to do this one in a rush, so I didn't really actually prep very much, just very last minute. I kind of looked at some stuff for a couple of minutes, but I was unfortunately just kind of playing on vibes. I've had to rush a lot of games because of spending time with my partner. I still had to play some games during that time, and I did not really want to sit there prepping Pokemon games while I was with her. So I can't say that I tried super hard, unfortunately. This was my last game while she was here, I think, during this tournament. So we'll see how it goes, but ultimately I can't really give any insights to my prep or scouting here. The Fable versus Ninetales, pretty bad lead matchup for me here. A lot of risk of crits, burns, etc. But in this case, dodge a burn, get the T-Wave, and as soon as I get the T-Wave, I'm feeling more comfy here that I'm not burned because I can get some good damage, and I get a lucky crit. And Fire Blast, no crit again, and no burn, so now I'm threatening a Hyper Beam KO. It's about 44 to 52, so that was right in the middle of the range. So it was slightly favored to me. Now Kang comes in to revenge. Switching into Kang sucks, so it's just going to be a 1-for-1, but I'm pretty happy with the lead matchup going even, and now I have my own Ninetales to threaten here. Wanted's got a Dragonite, one of the better switches, and I miss Fire Blast, so I can't even burn it to neuter its offense. Here I decide I don't really have good switches into this, so I try to T-Wave it or Confuse Ray it so I can get out. Unfortunately, I get crit. And then as I go Lapras, it again doesn't get confused, and I take the T-Wave, so this is looking kind of rough. T-Bolt. And right here I clicked Sing, thinking he might try to preserve this. I think in retrospect I didn't like this play because it kind of gave up my Sing pressure for the whole game. I have no more sleep pressure this game, and now he does, and yeah. I just think that that was silly, and I should have just taken it. With me being T-Waved and the potential that I click a silly button in front of Dragonite, of course he's going to T-Bolt me. So I do think I should have just Blizzarded it and seen what happens after that. So now I'm the victim of Confuse Ray this time, and I unfortunately do self-hit. And now I'm in range of 2 T-Bolts very comfortably, but I do get 1 in return. So that Confuse Ray from Wanted was correct, to be clear, because I would have just been, like right here, 2 T-Bolts killing me is pretty tough. It's a 60 to 70 range. So it is correct to Confuse Ray me and get me in the range. Oop. So it works out. He manages to dodge one of my attacks as a result of that, and now it's just horrifically bad for me, especially after the Ninetales crit removes its ability to come in and fight Lapras head-on. So just gonna Blizzard. Doesn't get the max roll necessary to take me out, but I just go for Hyper Beam for accuracy at this point. I want it as low as possible so I don't have to risk anything with like Hyper Beams or what have you to remove it, so I can just go Kang. But now this game is looking pretty awful. Like it's 3v3, but his last 3 are probably going to be better than my last 3 at this point because of me clicking sleep and him still having sleep open. Blizzard there trying to call a counter, but I don't actually click counter there. Body slam again, and he's just going to Hyper Beam to put me in range, which tells me he's got a Dodrio, a Persian, something like that that can be faster and take this out. And then I minimum roll Hyper Beam, so I unfortunately am not even going to win the Kang War. I got the lowest roll on the Hyper Beam and the Body Slam, so it was a bit unlucky for sure, and it turns out with Wanted getting a bigger advantage because now I have to send my Persian out first. And he decides to preserve and just go for the Dragonite sack here, which I think is fair. Even if it's pretty likely my last is a Hypno, it still is very bad for the Hypno if he has a 1% Kang that can just Hyper Beam it in the face later after this Persian is dealt with. So because of that preserved Kang, here I'm pretty sure I just lose. Because once this Hypno comes out and clicks like any status move, my only hope is dodging a Hypnosis, which I do. But I still need a lot. I do get the Hypnosis, which is definitely lucky that I got it first turn. And now Wanted has to get out of this pincer, which might involve just waking the Hypno, which is what he's going for first. I go back to Persian, but I get unlucky and the Hypno wakes up. The reason I went back to Persian is it gives me better odds of preventing a Hypno wake, but if the Hypno wakes on the Persian turn, I'm just screwed. So here I kind of had no way out anymore after this happens. I go for slash. I hope that I'm going to get away with it, but I get T-waved, and this game is just immediately over now because of the Kang being at 1%. If the Kang hadn't survived, this game I think was very winnable because obviously it's my Hypno versus whatever's last here, but because the Kang is alive, I just automatically lose this. There's no way out. So definitely a bit unlucky. My Hypno has to get everything now to win, which means kill this, dodge para, but just straight up Hyper Beam crits me out of the game, so I immediately lose. So Wanted takes game one. I think definitely the Kang living against my Kang was the biggest game swinging thing. I think I probably had like a 90-something% chance to KO it with that Body Slam Hyper Beam, but I just min rolled everything. I think that's probably the most significant thing. I think the Dragonite getting slept was bad for my pressure, but ultimately didn't matter because I managed to convince him to sack it. So I think really this is what won the game. Whatever is the last, if it's faster than my Hypno, then after that Hyper Beam it probably KO'd, which is probably why I wanted to click that. This is probably a Dodrio or something, and then Hyper Beam, then Hyper Beam just takes me out. So I couldn't have won that because of this living. So definitely a bit unfortunate, but what can you do? That's Pokemon. And we'll get into game two. Ninetales lead into Tentacruel, which is probably the worst lead I could have seen. So good scout from Wanted calling this out. I have been running a lot of fires as a default. I go for Confuse Ray. I get lucky to get it first, but I get unlucky because this Tentacruel decides not to hit itself. Second turn it does, and I get a crit body slam, but no para, so this is looking a bit dire, and I'm just trying to take some damage. Overall, Confuse Ray really did not do anything for me here. It only got me a little bit. So now I have to deal with this tent, and my best option is just Hypno, and I'm pretty sure I called this out with a Psychic. Yeah, so I called Wanted on staying with a Psychic and didn't click Hypnosis and potentially give up position. But now I'm worried about faster sleepers, I'm worried about Dodrio. And I decide this is already not looking great. Maybe I just need to Hypnosis or T-Wave this and not get out. I T-Wave, but I get parried, so now I'm very far behind, and I send Kang in, hoping for paras or any other kind of luck because I just can't really play very well from here in this position. My team's not super conducive to it, and Wanted just takes the damage and gets out. So I keep slamming. Crit doesn't really matter. This probably was a sack anyway, but Raichu comes in, and it needs to max roll me, which of course it does. So I think at the time of the game, I calculated it as 23% to KO me. So obviously it could have crit. So it's really more like a 35% chance, maybe 40. But that sucked. So I send Hypno, hoping to get some damage or Hypnosis on this, which I do get lucky and get Hypnosis through Para. So that helps me a lot. And I get a T-Wave on Dragonite as it enters. So like this game suddenly is looking okay again because my Hypno got more than it should have. But I definitely should not have gone to Lapras. This was a big mistake. I should have just sacked the Hypno. But unfortunate crit puts me really far behind. I was saving the Hypno specifically to sack it on a potential sleep from Wanted, but I should have realized at 7% he has no incentive not to click T-Bolt and cover for Lapras coming in. And that damage is pretty much game losing on its own. Nothing much I can do about it. I wanted Lapras to force Hypno in to take a Blizzard, and he Psychics there covering my switch, which tells me pretty much nothing because he didn't really have to do that at all. But I think he wants to remove this and get a sleep on something else, and the drop kind of sucks for me damage-wise. Now I have to sack Hypno anyway. I preserve Lapras because at least it can take out the Dragonite or force something if the Dragonite is in. Version comes out, but Wanted has the advantage here of just sacking the Raichu. So in this position, my thought is let's go Lapras and at least be forcing positionally for Wanted to go back to Hypno after the KO. Or I can threaten Rest Lap, which might make him go to Hypno and take the Blizzard that way or something. But I'm going to go to Lapras to try to play around my odds here, and it's an instant wake from Raichu, so now I just lose. The problem is now I have to send in Persian to revenge kill this, and then Dragonite gets to come in on my Persian with me having fewer Pokemon to sacrifice, so I just kind of can't win here except for getting lucky. So I would need a lot, and Articuno, good read into what I brought, especially after the Lapras got sacked because of the T-Bolt crit. So ultimately all this stems back to I should have just sacked the Hypno. I was trying to preserve my sacks because I figured Lapras HP might not be super valuable, but the Raichu Wake kind of just puts the nail in the coffin, and now all I can do is hope that Articuno misses at least one Blizzard. That's my last out here. My last here is Dodrio, as I recall, so I'm kind of screwed either way here. I went for Hyper Beam crit for best odds, but I don't get the crit, so the game is just over. But definitely a bit, I kind of got a bit beaten on the matchup fishes here because I ran a bunch of physical offense, which is terrible, into the Kuno. I ran a fire lead, which is terrible, into the Tentacruel, so Wanted called me on the matchup really hard here. But as with the last game, I think there was one pivotal moment. The Raichu Wake ultimately was the thing where I went, oh god, I'm going to lose immediately. So, Wanted played well, good scouting, but definitely was a bit upset at the time about the Kang living on 1% and about the Raichu Instant Wake both denying me any real plays to get out of the game. But that's Pokemon. So that's the end of week 3. Congrats to Wanted. I think he played it really well, so that's really not to take anything away from him. And I think especially the game 2 scout was a really brutal on my team. So he got it. He's definitely took more time to think about this and earned the win. So congrats to him. And about all I've got for this one. Pretty short one. I don't really have much to say about the teams. I kind of didn't quite reuse, but these weren't super different teams from what I usually run, and he kind of called me on that. So worked out for him. And yeah, as always, like, comment, subscribe, tell me what you think, give me video ideas, tell me tournaments you want me to cover if you've been following RBY stuff. I probably am going to take a break from RBY pretty soon after this tournament, so hopefully I'll cover some other stuff. I've been playing some Black and White UU again, which is a tier I used to play, and been playing the Spotlight for that, so maybe I'll even go over my matches there, although I think I'm playing them pretty terribly. But we'll see. I am definitely going to foray out of RBY. I've been on a bit of a sour streak with it and not really having the most fun, so I'll still cover the matches, but I might stop for a little while after UUCL, let myself get a little refresh. So anyway, let me know what you think in the comments, and I'll see you in the next one.